Oh, I just realized how like stupidly dark I am. Hey everyone, this is Adventurous in the dark.
Oh.
Let there be light. I ain't God, but I have a bright idea every now and then. You know, like turning on my fucking light.
We can see your
Major
face.
kill. My face is hideous. What do you? Don't lie to them. My face looks like if two dogs ate each other's shit and then barfed that up into a pile, and then you took that pile and put it in a blender and then froze it in popsicle molds and served those up. That's what my face looks like.
Does not. So
Anyways.
mean to you.
Oh, God. That visualization in my head just made me feel ill.
Like, why did you do that to yourself and the rest of us?
Oh, I don't know. Look, hey guys, Major Kill, apparently there's a new Warhammer game out and Major Kill is reviewing it. And so,
yeah.
You know,
right?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Guys and gal, bit of a break from the usual content, but since my last 40k game review was so well received, I thought I'd take another stab at it. Chaos Gate Daemonhunters, the newest in a long line of 40k games. Now 40k games are a bit cursed. For whatever reason, they seem to only get mediocre clones of better games, mobile games, or just shit games. Like the best 40k gaming experiences I've ever had have been through fan-made modifications and content. This is odd, since Warhammer Fantasy, a dead setting that wasn't remotely as popular as 40k, even in its prime, has received some of the best games to ever come out. Does Chaos Gate Daemonhunters signal the beginning of a golden age for 40k games, or is it just another meh game that will soon be forgotten? It's important to quickly note that this video is in no way, shape, or form sponsored or under any conditions. I
would like to say this. It really is pathetic that there isn't a good Warhammer 40k game. Because of the scope of the universe and the amount of like just the number of novels there are and the amount of lore there is, there's no reason there isn't a god tier role-playing game. Like, hey, Games Workshop, here's a fucking concept. Call Square Enix, be like, hey, we want a game that takes the player through the Horus Heresy. That would be a fucking amazing game. Just license the rights to the story to Square Enix. Let the people who, know how to make content do their magic. And you'll have a god tier game and successfully break into the video game sector. There's a free nugget of wisdom for you, Games Workshop.
Yeah, but
I know you'll ignore it.
Well, yeah.
Even if you do see it.
Yeah, like I was about to say. Because those greasy neck beards, they're all stingy and shit.
Not even that they're stingy. They have this false sense of pride. They're like, we're the wizard neckbeards who made this one neckbeard thing successful somehow by marketing it to all the fellow neckbeards. We are gods.
Yeah, and but then we're gonna go and shit on all the fans that make animatics and stuff because
because we do business such good around her.
Yeah, obviously not, because none of the video games have been successful.
Right.
Access, but that's about it. The embargo is over. So if I want to spend the next 10 to 15 minutes calling this game a piece of shit, then I am free to do that. I just want to make it clear that there's no bias or hidden agenda here. Today, we'll review each of the key aspects of Chaos Gate Daemonhunters. These are the gameplay, the features, the graphics and art style, the story and writing, the music, sound effects,
and the Beyblades.
Let it rip.
And finally, the actual company itself in regards to their care factor for the game. And then I'll give a conclusive score out of 10 before either recommending you buy it now, wait for updates, wait for a sale, or don't buy. Let's get into it. First up is the gameplay. Let's talk about the obvious cockmeat spinning around. Yes, this game is a bit of an XCOM clone, which, isn't the worst type of clone considering XCOM 2 is considered to be a very good game. I haven't played XCOM, which might actually be a good thing, as I'll be able to review Chaos Gate as a standalone game rather than seeing how it matches up to XCOM. At first, I was a bit worried about the gameplay, to be honest.
Now, I've never played XCOM either, but I trust my friend Wes, dearly departed, and he said those games were pretty good in terms of their mechanics and gameplay. So,
not because it was shit, but because those slower turn-based RTS games don't usually ignite a stiffy. This was a big reason why I passed over XCOM 2 despite it seeming right up my alley. Surprisingly, I found myself enjoying the gameplay quite a lot. Turns out that it's not strictly turn-based. You can set traps and kill zones that activate when it isn't even your turn. A favorite moment of mine was when a huge horde of Nurglite sluts was coming for my booty. I had to hold the line for a couple of turns, set all my Grey Knights to Overwatch mode, meaning they shoot at anything that enters their line of fire. As such, when the enemy charged, there was a great deal of shooting and killing. Just as I got overrun, my team was extracted and the mission was successful. It was pretty hype, and it took place very early on in the campaign. In regards to gameplay, there's two elements. The main part, which is the missions that I just mentioned, and then there's the ship menu, where you select upgrades for your vessel, research upgrades, plot your course, select missions, and modify your squad's appearance and loadout, or just engage with the different support characters to learn bits and bobs of the lore.
Galen.
Yeah.
I might stream this.
Yeah.
Might have to buy this and stream this, bruh.
Yeah.
Whilst the ship build menu initially gave me a bit of like a mobile game vibe, one of those shitty base builders, as I gain access to more and more of the options,
I don't think anybody else
turned out to...
I'm sure there's at least a few people, but I like 40K and I like strategy games. So
yeah,
be interesting and sophisticated enough to break off from that first impression. One thing that surprised me was the fact that this game is quite sandboxy. You select the system you want to visit, which in turn allows you to select what mission and map you want to play with. You can also customize each member of your squad without exception. So if you want 4 motherfucking Terminators with power hammers to Leroy Jenkins in and wreck some tits, you can totally do that. I personally wouldn't, as without an apothecary, you're kind of fucked, but I'm sure you nerds can make it work. Back to the mission map, because that's...
I just know that if I get into this game's community, I'm going to run into these fucking they exist in every fucking community. The fucking min-maxers. They're like, if you don't run my min-max build, you're a fucking retard because it breaks the game, makes your dick 10 inches longer. And meanwhile, I'm over here with a generalist max efficiency squad, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, bro. That's why I clear missions 8 times faster than you.
What we actually care about. There are different methods, tactics, and strategies you can use to complete a mission. There definitely isn't one optimal approach that forces you into linear gameplay. When I started, I was overzealous and kept overextending, making my Grey Knights take unnecessary damage, which caused them to keep getting wounded in the post-battle screen. More on that in a second. As such, I learned to approach slower and more carefully, ensuring my squad could cover each other's backs whilst protecting my apothecary. I found I was getting shat on way less. In saying that, the game is pretty punishing. I chose to play on standard difficulty and I was finding it tough. The AI is relatively smart, flanking you, setting up kill zones, and targeting isolated squad mates. There was one moment where an enemy cultist pinned my Grey Knights, then his mate threw a mine down in the pin zone that would explode next turn. I had to really think about how to deal with that. On top of that, if a Grey Knight falls below 50% health, he will be wounded for quite a decent amount of time, pretty much ensuring he is weakened for the next mission. If they get downed, then they are critically wounded, meaning they may not even be available next mission. This approach is a good one on one hand, as it makes you want to play smart and keep your dudes healthy, but it's a little frustrating how it seems to punish a full send it melee only approach. Or maybe it doesn't and I'm just too shit, but you see what I mean. Another punishing aspect is the warp surge system. Every turn, a warp meter fills up, and when it gets to 100%, the enemy either gets a buff or you get a debuff, or something happens to the map that benefits the enemy. Empowering your abilities with psychic force also fills up this meter. I like this as a concept, but I wish its effects were more random and neutral, like one of your warrior's next hit creating a warp explosion that hurts him and his target, or a warp rift opens that shoots out Cornite demons that attack both you and the enemy. It's kind of anti-fun when you want to use warp powers, and as a result of using them, your entire squad gets -1 max HP. The map environment can be used for protection or even as a weapon against your enemy. Choke points and flanks are readily available. As your squad levels up and you progress throughout the game, you unlock more and more shit, which expands your tactical options. This is important, as a bunch of level 1 plebs with tier 1 basic grenades aren't going to go so hot against some of the greater demon boss fights you have to deal with later on. Each unit has action points as well as WP. Action points is for shit like movement,
this doesn't seem like the kind of game that you just set all the way on difficult. Go for it.
Fucking Caitlin. Full send it. Hell mode. First playthrough. Fucking my ass in a knife hole. Yeah.
Attacking, shielding, reloading, the basic fundamental stuff. WP is for special abilities. Your apothecaries heal, empowering your attacks with psychic bonuses, that kind of stuff. It's important to manage your action points, as if you charge in too far, you won't have the points remaining for that turn to kill the enemy. So you just end up standing there looking like a fucking idiot as the enemy absolutely unloads on you.
Unloads on you.
Right.
Shine boss fights. I took on a greater demon of Nurgle, and I lost. He had the ability to heal via absorbing Nurglings, and there were multiple Nurgling spawners across the map. So I thought if I sent out my fast warrior across the map to wipe out the spawners, whilst the rest of my squad kited the greater demon, I would be all right. Turns out I was wrong. I should have just full centered at the greater demon and used my flamethrower to purge the Nurglings. Stuff like that really shows the strategy of the game.
That graphic is both really cool looking and haunting as fuck.
Yeah.
So that's the gameplay. What about the features? Chaos Gate is pretty feature rich. A standout for me is the unit customization. It goes pretty deep. You can choose the name, armor decorations, voice, insignia, weapon, and equipment for your Grey Knights. You can then unlock unique weapons and armor to further diversify your crew. With those unique weapons.
But can I play as a faction other than Grey Knights?
Weapons having unique models and textures. I fucking love this. This level of customization, especially being able to choose what voices they have, helps you form a bond and distinguish your Grey Knights from each other. You get genuinely concerned when they get injured in battle, annoyed when you have to sub them out for the next mission with some basic bitch you haven't customized yet, and devastated when they're killed in battle. Their upgrade screen also allows you to personalize their role. Are they the frontline tank? Are they the high WP support unit? Are they the DPS? The further in the game you get, the more distinct each squad mate gets. Hence the...
This is also very reminiscent of XCOM.
More attached you end up being. This level of custom...
I actually wish I could log into Wes's Steam account because one of his XCOM guys was me.
Customization seems like a small detail to a lot of devs, but it just adds so much value and flavor. Another feature is the timed nature of the campaign. It takes time to get to locations, and if you don't get there fast enough, missions will expire. This does add a bit of pressure to the player, often making you feel obliged to perform a mission with a wounded squad.
Now, I actually really like that. That same rough component existed in Emperor Battle for the Dune, which was Dune from RTS made from the Dune series.
Yeah.
It was like, that game was so old. It came out on like fucking Windows 95, but it was legitimately one of the most fun RTS strategy games I've ever played to this day. Yeah. And I've played like StarCraft and Age of Empires and Age of Mythology. Like, nah, man. Emperor Battle for the Dune was such a fucking good game. It was so far ahead of its time in terms of RTS, in my opinion. And that component was in there. You need to get on this or you're going to lose the chance to do it, because that's how war works.
Right. Oh, that is cool though.
Yeah.
Because it gives that realistic element to it.
Exactly.
Creates more of a sense of urgency.
Exactly. There was legitimately times playing that game where it's like,
Yeah.
do I attack this stronghold to get this bonus, or do I attack this weaker territory that's an easy win and gives me a huge strategic position advantage?
Yeah.
And you had to make that decision because the bonus was not going to be there next turn.
Yeah.
And you might lose the opportunity at the territory because there were three there you played and 2 AI houses played. So there were 3 active players contesting territories at all times.
Yeah.
Such a good game.
Adding even more difficulty to the game. And
I think that's what a lot of games now are missing, is that, I don't know, that opportunity to actually teach people to use critical or strategic thinking.
God, ain't that the truth?
Some people probably won't be huge fans of this. I personally think the wound feature is a little bit overtuned, but you can always choose to just ignore the mission, let your team recover, and then go in when you feel you're ready. Another nice small feature is that whenever you alt-tab out of the game, even on a loading screen, it will just throw up a pause screen. Seems like a basic thing to do, but so many games, even AAA ones, will shit the bed and crash if you so much as...
I know this sounds like a basic odd thing to add to the review, but I can't even play in Windows. It drives me nuts having the alt-tab to check a message when it causes the game to shit itself. No, Major Kill. That's not a basic thing to add. You're absolutely fucking right. It's absurd that you can't alt-tab out of a goddamn game without it shitting itself. You're absolutely right, Major Kill. It's bullshit, and game devs need to unfuck their software before they release it, because they're turds.
Look at your second monitor. So I'm glad they've taken the time to add this in. Now let's talk about the graphics and art style. The developer, Complex Games, is very new to game making and likely doesn't have a huge budget or dev team. I could be wrong, but they were only formed in 2015 and have only made 1 game as far as I'm aware. As such, the graphics aren't amazing. That's not to say the game...
The graphics look pretty good to me.
Is ugly though. Chaos Gate leans heavily into a specific art style, something more basic and cartoonish. However, they commit to it, giving it some charm and aesthetic. This makes the over-the-top gore kind of cute and fun. After all, if you smack a cultist with a force sword or shoot him with a storm bolter, he is going to turn into mush pretty quickly, and the game definitely reflects that. The animations did take a bit to get used to, especially the cinematics. They can come across as a bit silly and clunky, almost as if everything lost its weight and impact at times. It does kind of suit the art style, but with how serious
Would smash
all the characters and dialogue is, it's a bit out of place. In saying that, I do appreciate how many cinematics the game has. There are dozens of them, and it's definitely appreciated to break up some of the more grindy sections. The mid-battle animations, however, are very cool, and I haven't gotten sick of them yet. It's very satisfying to get an up-close slow-motion execution of the enemy captain who has been giving you a bit of a hard time. The map designs are gorgeous with solid diversity, ranging from cathedrals to outlands all the way to Nurglite mega raids. Keeps it fresh. The only thing that lets it down here is the fact that it seems like Nurgle is our only enemy. I have yet to encounter demons of the other dark gods other than the first prologue mission. So how is the story and the writing?
That is definitely a problem. I hope they add in missions for the other Chaos factions. And it would be super cool if they added in missions for Xeno factions too.
Yes.
Hopefully we either get expansions for this game for that, or they do a second game where we actually get to contest all the factions.
Yeah. It's vanilla. Each character... Now let's talk about the graphics and art style. The developer, Complex Games, could be wrong, but they were only formed in 2015. That's not to say more basic and cartoon gore. Animations did take a while, and I do appear to have gotten sick of them yet. Ranging from cathedrals to outlands all the way to Nurgle mega raids. Keeps it fresh. The only thing that lets it down here is the fact that it seems like Nurgle is our only enemy. I have yet to encounter demons of the other dark gods other than the first prologue mission. So how is the story and the writing? It's vanilla. Each character is super fucking serious all the time. which makes sense and doesn't feel out of place, but it's also not that inspiring. It feels a bit jarring when you try to put in a very textbook grimdark Warhammer plot and dialogue with a comical cartoony art style. A lot of the enemies look and sound quite silly as well, so it's hard to get immersed in the whole "I'm a badass Grey Knight" vibe. For the plot, you take on the role of the commander of a Grey Knight strike cruiser. After your predecessor dies, you don't actually play as yourself or send yourself on missions, but it's basically acknowledged that you are in command. I actually named my main dude Major Kill, and I roleplay as if he's the character that everyone speaks to, which so far hasn't sparked any conflicts in the story, so that's definitely an option.
Hey.
You know what that tells? You know what that admission by Major Kill tells me, Caitlin?
What?
This guy has childlike whimsy in his heart, and I respect it. I see you, Major Kill.
The story is that you discover some Nurgle-like corruption across the galaxy after an Inquisitor comes aboard your ship. You then run around, putting down Nurgle-like uprisings, gathering intel on the plague, and work on uncovering its origin. It's not bad, but it's just not original or that inspiring. How about the game's audio? Stuff like its music, sound effects, and voice acting. The voice acting is good. Everyone sounds very Warhammery and badass, with Andy fucking Serkis even having a role, which was a pleasant surprise. The fact that there is your Grey Knights is
It's Smeagol.
Talk about blowing your budget on one thing.
Right. But I mean, what a thing to blow it on, man. It's great. Right.
No comment on the sexual connotation there in that voice.
Plus, it's not going to top the charts or inspire a generation like how Skyrim or Elden Ring music does, but it serves its purpose. The sound effects are inconsistent. Sometimes they sound hollow and weak, whilst other times they fit perfectly. Bit of a nitpick, I suppose, but if you're going to try to show us a hectic boss battle duel during the first mission, then at least make it sound like the fire is above 100 degrees. There's also a weird buzzing noise whenever you meet a new enemy type, which I didn't like. Surely there's like 100 other noises they could have used, but oh well. And finally, what about the company? It might seem weird that I include a company review for the game, but I believe it's important to aim to support good companies that are passionate about their products and will listen to the community and continue to support the game instead of shit ones like EA who are just there for the money.
Agreed.
As a part of me getting early access, I was able to speak with some of the devs and their representatives. They reached out to me, wanted my input, and invited me to a sneak preview game event where I got to play a hands-on demo. They even sent out a bunch of boxes of Grey Knight models with corresponding paints. And I shit you not, just as I was writing this very sentence, my doorbell rang and my box arrived. That's literally like a 1 in a million. Warp Spaghetti is playing for sure.
Goddamn Warp Spaghetti. Always fucking with the natural order.
During this early access event, the free game copy and special box wasn't conditional. They didn't say we could only get it if we say nice things. All we had to do was sign an NDA stating that we wouldn't leak the game's contents before the embargo was done, which is very standard and expected. This, in my opinion, is a great way to reach out to creators. After all, if you back your own product, you shouldn't need to force them into contracts to say nice things. I could tell from talking to them that they were really excited about the game, and almost giddy for me to watch the Exterminator cinematic they had put together. You can tell the game is a labor of love, with a new dev company likely working on a tight budget and manpower, putting everything they have into it. So from a company standpoint, I think they're good. I mean, they could end up being a bunch of secret murderers, but from my experience, they were lovely. So now we've gone through and reviewed each aspect of the game. What's my verdict? Chaos Gate Daemonhunters isn't going to win Game of the Year, nor is it going to launch RTS games to the forefront of gaming. It is by no means perfect, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I buy most 40k games that come out, and I usually forget about them after like 2 to 4 hours of playing. For Chaos Gate, as soon as I upload this video, I'm going to go back to playing it. It's a labor of love, from the small immersive details to the big grand design. I also did not experience a single bug during my multiple hours of gameplay, nor did I experience any crashes, performance drops, or just anything of the sort.
Yay.
Let me tell you, folks, that is, to me, one of the single most important things. Looking at you, Bethesda. Cocksuckers.
Yeah. So
Chaos
hey,
Gate-
so it looks like they put their budget where it was important
Yes,
to
exactly.
put their best foot forward. So
Hey guys, I just had this crazy idea. Hey guys, let's release software that works.
yeah,
Mad genius, but I think he's onto something, guys.
right. Yeah.
herald of a new generation of higher standard 40k
Aw.
games, and as such, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. There is some room to improve. Stuff like the lack of enemy diversity, a bit too much of anti-fun player punishment system, and a few quality of life fixes that could help increase the pace of the game. But these are all minor, and I'm sure future updates and
I'm saying it right now. I want slutty Slanesh demons in the next patch.
Ooh.
I need this.
Yeah. That would be
DLC
fun.
will address them. I'm unsure if they will support
I want to pound those demons.
Mhm.
Double entendre.
what they do. Being able to play as your favorite loyalist chapters, or
Like,
just
and make
increasing
sure
the
they have all
customization
6 of their
options
titties.
would spruce up the game
Jesus
even
Christ.
more. Whilst I don't consider this
Why must you ruin everything for me?
What?
Stop disrespecting my waifu.
Well,
Stop it.
sometimes it's wearing 6 titties and not just 2.
I hate you so much.
I
hate you.
I did not address it as he this time.
So much.
game a must buy, like I would with Elden Ring, I highly recommend it. The fact that it launched bug-free with all its initially promised content justifies a full price purchase. If you're an XCOM fan, then you'll likely love this. And even if you aren't, like me, I reckon you'll still find it highly enjoyable. If you guys enjoy this review, I'll probably end up streaming Chaos Gate this weekend if you wanted to see live gameplay before making up your mind. That's all I've got for you today.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Peace.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to buy this game based on Major Kill's review. 100%. That is a thing I'm going to do. So I'm gonna stream it too. I'm gonna buy this game. I'm gonna stream it on our Twitch. If you're feeling adventurous over on Twitch, you'll know you found it when you see me in the gym a bunch, because that's mainly what I stream over there is my workouts.
Right. Yeah.
All right, guys. If somehow by some absurd happenstance of luck you know who we are but not who Major Kill is, and you like 40k, well, that's like that's warp spaghetti incarnate.
Yeah,
go check out Major Kill. Dude's great.
not your mom's spaghetti.
This isn't your mom's spaghetti. You got Alfredo sauce made with Flaneshi tit milk. We got Nurgle meat. Nurgle meat meatballs. And delicious hot peppers picked straight from the jungles of Catachan itself. Because fuck you, that's why.
Yep. Oh man, and if you get too sweaty, here are some towels that are actually facing parasites.
Hey yo, we are Team Adventurous.
Yep.
Thanks for being here. Welcome to the adventure. I don't know why I keep doing this.
Yeah.